among themselves, saying, "What shall we do with this man? For indeed, that a notable miracle had been done through them is evident to all who dwell in Jerusalem, and we cannot deny it. But so that it spreads no further among the people, let us severely threaten them, that from now on they speak to no man in his name." Look at this big threat. Now the people are changing. Back then when they were saying, "Give us a king, give us a king," same old time. This time, they were not shouting. This time, they were just observing John, Peter, uneducated people who've been with Christ. So, it's a different kind of movement. And the growing desire is there to follow this new king. In 27, Peter and John were talking. They said, "For truly against your holy servant Jesus, whom you anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate, with the Gentiles and the people of Israel, were gathered together to do whatever your hand and your purpose determined before to be done. Now, Lord, look on their threats, and grant to your servants that with all boldness they may speak your word, by stretching out your hand to heal, and that signs and the wonders may be done through the name of your holy servant Jesus." This is the key. The big difference between the kingdom that was being asked by Israel Singleton and the kingdom that is being presented by Peter and John. The word is this. Of the many adjectives in the Bible to describe this king, Peter used the word servant. Your holy servant. How could you start a kingdom by a person who's just a servant? That's a mind-boggling idea. But if you try to go back in the life of Christ, Christ has presented himself as the servant. "It is not my will, but your, Father." It is just a person who could hear that might characterize this person as a very weak person, not a very kingly one. Why would you do something based on what was being told by the Father? That has been his theme. And when he was being proclaimed by Peter and John, he was presented as the holy servant. It is a big antidote for those who are looking for a king. Now, this is what has encouraged me to sit and engage in a very deep thought, because as a child, I was already trained how to be a leader. I thought the way to work in this church is to be by being a leader. But what's the difference between king, the leader, and servant? The leader and follower. You know, in a book by Leonard Sweet, it's called "I Am a Follower." He said Jesus never called leaders. He only called followers. In fact, he never called anyone to be a leader. I'm going to skip this one and just go back to this. Let's see here. If you type in Bible Gateway and try to see how Jesus actually encouraged people, highlight the word "follow me," because this is Jesus' favorite words in getting people, or in making people follow him. Okay. Then he said to them in Matthew 4:19, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Jesus is very faithful in getting people to follow him and making them followers. This is just Matthew, okay? Because if you look at the book Mark, Luke, and John, and the rest of the epistles, and you will see the common theme of Jesus, it's highlighted here: follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. And here are the different books, that has the same theme here of follow me. Jesus called followers. Never in the New Testament, in the Gospel, where Jesus said, "I'm going to make you a leader. And you too. Oh, you have good qualities, so you'll be a leader for this new kingdom." In fact, the disciples were fighting to be to be the leader of this new kingdom that Christ is establishing. Jesus never called leaders. He called followers. And when I was thinking about that, and I said, now I get it. I have attempted several times to lead so that we can finish a project. To lead so that we can do a program. To lead so that we can accomplish things. But a follower is different. A follower is focused on Jesus. A leader is focused on the figure, the capacity, the power, the person leading and the people being led, the hierarchy. A follower is different. If I'm a follower, I'm going to invite you to follow Jesus. We are in the same boat. If I'm the leader, I'm going to tell you, you know what? You have to do this so you can follow Jesus. Because I'm your leader. That's hierarchy. And I was thinking, a follower of Jesus, the end, as Adventists, the end is Jesus. As a leader, the end might be me. I need to be out of this equation. I might not be doing the work of God. Culturally, again, it's in our DNA. Pastors are gifted, spiritual gift. Teachers, spiritual gift, for the edification of the church. Not the end of the means. If we start following pastors because we glorify them, we miss the point. If we following teachers because we glorify them, then we miss the point. Because they are fellow followers. Jesus is the King. All of us are followers. My friend Israel in California, he loves biking. Passionate about biking. Whenever we talk, he talks about biking. And so I said, I want to experience that. The biking, the benefits for my health, for my heart. So I did it. And then I shared this with my friends about the benefits of the biking. I was so elated. Last Friday, there were about 7 pastors biking with me, completing 20 miles. Now, I was reflecting back. Is this a result of my leadership or Israel's leadership, my friend in California? Or because we are following a certain ideology? Because now those who are into biking can be much, much better than I am because they are not actually following me. They're following the principles in that health. But this is just something mundane. How about Christ? If we are both followers and we both discover Christ, even if I was the one who led you to Christ, you might end up being in the bosom of Christ and be miles and miles away from Christ. Why? Because you are not following me. You are following Christ. Brothers and sisters, there's difference between leading people to Jesus and discovering Jesus together. In evangelism, sometimes we just fall on leading people to Jesus. Let's have this gathering so we can lead people to Jesus because we know the word, we teach them, we preach to them, and now they get baptized and we congratulate them as if we are now in the same boat. And praise the Lord, we led them to Jesus. And then we feel there is a hierarchy there, but Jesus never called leaders. He called followers. Because I may get in the way and you miss Jesus if I'm going to pursue leadership alone, saying, I know the way. Jesus is the way. If we all discover that, you might get to him closer than me because we are all followers. When I was in Hawaii with my wife, for those who know, we went to Hawaii. We went to Hawaii, it's a vacation, because it's a gift from my brother-in-law, my wife's sisters. We can't afford Hawaii, you know that. But we enjoyed it. And even when I was talking to my brother-in-law, he was saying, you know what? You know your other brother-in-law here is working with me now. What are you doing? But the reason why you're here, the reason why we can afford to sponsor your trip here and enjoy this beautiful Hawaii. Because, you know, they are business people. So he started sharing the idea of the business. And the idea of the business and the opportunity in that business is to build people around him and discover that. And maybe some of you are in that kind of business. But while I was listening to him, I was going back to the I am a follower kind of thing. People are succeeding. In fact, he was successful, more successful than the person who got him into the business. And the person who got into the business was way back in his own country, land, mainland, where they were enjoying that. He surpassed that person. Because the leader is not that person. They were pursuing an idea, ideology. And I was saying, you know what? I might be in the wrong business. People might get stuck using my standard for their own Christianity when we are all just followers here. If many people under him become richer in that opportunity, and I'm going to apply that in the business of this Christian thing that we call, I might be in the wrong model. We pastors are not the standards. We are fellow followers. We invite you to discover Christ together. And the more we get closer to Christ, help us. So we can also get closer to Christ. And if we get closer to Christ, we can help you to get closer to Christ. I was wondering if I have that passion in me. As Seventh-day Adventist, as a pastor of this church, and I might not stay long here, and that doesn't matter. But the question is this: did we get closer to Jesus as fellow followers? If we are able to finish the church building, but we didn't even inch closer to Jesus, it's a failed mission. It is a failed mission. The question is always, did we get closer to Jesus? And if we are followers, we can achieve that. Not as leaders. Brothers and sisters, I am a follower. Let's follow Christ.